But I think it's clear at this point that Bitcoin is a better form of money than gold. It is provably scarce, just like gold, but it's more portable and divisible. So you can actually use it. Has higher utility, I would say. And it was the best performing asset of the last 10 years. And so for store of value, I think it's going to be important for governments to hold this over time. It might start with being 1% of their reserves, but I think over time it'll come to be equal to or greater than gold reserves.
Back to the channel, Aaron here from the Bitcoin Bros coming back at you with another video today. That was Coinbase's CEO talking about the power of Bitcoin. And it's really good to hear him say that because he really hasn't talked a lot about Bitcoin. He talks more about all the other cryptos. He's a big Ethereum fan, but great to hear him talking about BTC and the power of Bitcoin. But in today's video, we're going to be getting into MicroStrategy, Bitcoin news update. Make sure to stay tuned. A lot of information, a lot of news in today's video. And I also have a clip of Saylor at the end of the video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. So want to get into the buy that MicroStrategy announced on Monday. I know we already talked a little bit about this in yesterday's video, but want to talk about what this means for MicroStrategy going forward. So they purchased another 11,000 Bitcoin for $1.1 billion, a Bitcoin yield of 1.69% year to date. And Invest Answers published this chart, and I wanted to just go over it here because it really simplifies it from a high level. He says, if you had purchased a MicroStrategy share back in 2020, you would now possess 7.24 times more Satoshis per share. So that's what Saylor is talking about when he refers to Bitcoin yield. So that Bitcoin yield number, you can kind of understand that it's accretive to the shareholder because they're getting more Bitcoin per share, which we talk about a lot on our channel. That really just gives you a high level simplification if you don't understand the Bitcoin yield. And then we have some big news. MicroStrategy shareholders vote to raise the total amount of shares by ATM offerings, convertible notes, and preferred stock. There was a lot of FUD around this a couple of weeks ago. We debunked that. This doesn't mean that MicroStrategy is issuing all these shares and the stock price is going to go down. This is going to allow them to offer more shares in the future, to do more debt offerings, to do more convertible notes, more preferred stock, more ATM offerings. It's just going to allow them to get it out the way early and not have to worry about it for a long time. And then from Punter Jeff, he says, 11,000 more Bitcoin for MicroStrategy. We have 5.42 billion of the ATM plan left, 74% of the way through the $21 billion ATM capital plan. Leverage ratios continuing to fall. MicroStrategy's balance sheet continuously getting stronger. And then you can see here are some of the key takeaways from the MicroStrategy purchase. So all of these purchases were made from the ATM. The average ATM price per share was $365.20. So far, they used $15.6 billion of their $21 billion ATM program, which is the $5.4 billion remaining. And they've used $3 billion of their $21 billion debt program, and there's only $18 billion remaining there. So in total, they've used $18.6 billion of their $42 billion program, $23.4 billion remaining, around 44% done with their $42 billion program. Expect large preferred and debt offerings being announced soon. And then if we check out the leverage ratio that MicroStrategy has right now, MicroStrategy assets held on balance sheet is around $50 billion. Their debt is currently at around 7.5 billion. So if you divide this by this, that's how you get that leverage ratio of around 15%. So going to bring the calculator out here. So historically, we know that MicroStrategy likes to keep that leverage ratio at around 25%. So how much more convertible debt can they offer to get this to around 25%? With the current assets held on the balance sheet at around $105,000 Bitcoin, that's going to be around $43.9 billion. So if we take 25% of that, we get $12.32 billion of debt. But you have to subtract what they already have outstanding, which will be the $7.5 billion. So that's going to put them around $5 billion of convertible debt that they could offer, and it's going to keep their leverage ratio around that 25% mark. They've gone higher than that in the past, and they've kept it lower than that in the past, but 25% is kind of the average of where they've kept it. So we could see MicroStrategy come out and do a $5 billion convertible debt offering. And one thing I want to mention here is the preferred stock offerings. Those are a bit different because they may have a dividend. And if that happens, that doesn't mean they're going to go on the liabilities on the balance sheet. They'll be treated as equity on the balance sheet. So that will be completely different. And it won't even affect the leverage ratio here. But there are other things that have to be considered because MicroStrategy will still have to make that dividend payment somehow. But you can see we could have a $5 billion convertible debt offering coming very soon. And then to look at the most actively traded US stocks yesterday, MicroStrategy coming in at number 5 at around $10.2 billion traded. You can see some of the huge companies is up here with when you compare the $100 billion market cap of MicroStrategy to Netflix at around 370 or Amazon at around 2.43 trillion. And all these companies are multi-trillion-dollar companies. You can see MicroStrategy is really undervalued compared to the rest of the top 10. And that could be a sign that MicroStrategy is headed higher because of all the trading volume. And then check out the current price. We're at 389,100. And Bitcoin is currently sitting at 105K. So MicroStrategy may trade down a little bit on the open since Bitcoin is down. But if you do need somewhere to trade MicroStrategy, you can check out MooMoo. They have MicroStrategy options. They have any other Bitcoin proxy you want. They have Bitcoin, any cryptos. Make sure to check them out. We have an affiliate link with them. And if you sign up with our affiliate link, you can get up to 30 free stocks valued up to $2,000 each. They just changed it from 15 to 30 stocks. So make sure to take advantage of that. And I've been seeing some comments, people talking about MooMoo is some type of scam company or something like that. But we've been using MooMoo for quite some time with no issues. And they are a publicly traded company, guys. You can check them, Futu Holdings. They're a $13 billion company. So I don't think you should really worry about them being some type of scam company. They're pretty legit, so make sure to check them out. But getting into some Bitcoin news here, the SEC launches new task force to create a clear regulatory framework for crypto assets. So we know this is going to be bullish for crypto. This is going to be bullish for Bitcoin. The president has his own Trump token. They've been outspoken on getting the regulations set for Bitcoin and crypto so that it can flourish in the future. So that is something that is definitely bullish for both Bitcoin and crypto, and is completely different than what we've had the past 4 years. They didn't really give us any type of guidance on how crypto and Bitcoin should be handled. But I think with Trump in now, I think they'll definitely set some standards in the market. And then you have KULR. They acquired 79.39 Bitcoin for around $8 million. And they've achieved a Bitcoin yield of 127% year to date. And now they hold around $50 million of Bitcoin at around $98,000 per BTC. And then we have Critical Metal Corp. They're announcing their Bitcoin treasury strategy, and they're going to be trying to do some related financing to acquire up to $500 million of BTC. So just another company, and this is funny, this is a metals company who's going to be putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So just another company. We'll keep you guys up to date with how they progress in the future, but definitely bullish to see that as well. And the ETFs had a huge day yesterday, a $802 million inflow. They bought around 7,500 Bitcoin. They're continuing to snatch up more and more BTC. And then as soon as that inflation number came up positive, you can see there's just been green days for the ETFs. So unless something changes in the traditional markets, we'll probably continue to see these ETFs continue to buy more and more BTC. That is just huge buying pressure there from the ETFs. If you put that together with everything MicroStrategy is doing, all these other corporate companies, what the United States is trying to do with their strategic reserve, all the states trying to do strategic reserves, other countries buying Bitcoin around the world, there's going to be a huge supply crunch for Bitcoin in the future if this continues to hold up this way. But I do have a clip from Saylor I want to share with you guys. Make sure to check this one out. Like and subscribe for more content. We have new videos coming out every single day. Really appreciate you watching all the way to the end. Let's go ahead and get into this clip from Saylor.
We went to Harvard Business School and they taught the MicroStrategy case study. And the professor calls me and says, well, you know, the students are really excited. They studied the MicroStrategy story. This is after we'd done it and after it worked. He said, we studied the MicroStrategy story. He said, we'd like you to come in and talk to the class. This is the greatest business school in the United States, maybe the most famous business school in America, the best and the brightest. You have to be the best students. So this is what happens. I go to the class, I zoom in, I said, yeah, well, I mean, the company was at the end of the line. We were going to have to sell the company. The enterprise was worth $600 million. And we were at our wits' end. We tried everything we could possibly do for a decade. It didn't work. So finally, we adopted the Bitcoin standard. you know, and we quadrupled the stock price, and the shareholders made billions of dollars, and the employees all made millions of dollars, and everyone's delighted and happy, and it was good for Bitcoin and good for the company and good for the employees, and the customers are happy. And now, you know, and this is back when MicroStrategy had a market cap of maybe $5 billion or something. Today, our market cap is more than $30 billion. The professor goes, okay, you've heard the CEO. What do you guys think? Would you do it? And he takes a survey. First student, I don't know, seems kind of risky. Second student, it seems like an inappropriate use of shareholder funds. Third student, this isn't normally done. Fourth student, it kind of violates, you know, convention in corporate finance. Fifth student, we really can't see, you know, any major company doing it. I swear, I watched 10 students. Ex post facto, you could say, the facts are, we ran out of options. The only alternative was sell the company, right, and close up shop, and we're done. Corporate death, or we do this, and by the way, it works, and everybody made billions, and they're happy. Every one of them said, no, we would never do this. And so you want to answer your question, it's the world's full of conventional wisdom and conventional thinkers and conventional institutions, and you can give them the answer. You can even take the risk. You can even prove it works. They will still stare at it and not do it.